Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere. Get ready for a chat with a chair.
I'm Joe Etling, Chair of the Vigo County Democratic Central Committee. Welcome to the award-winning Chat with the Chair. We're delighted you could join us. Hope everyone is healthy and safe out there. We got a great show for you this evening. We're going to get started right away. We've got two great guys with us. Tell us who you are.
Curt Mallory, I'm the head football coach at Indiana State.
Michael Thomas, senior safety, Indiana State.
Now, Coach and Michael, this would be your inaugural visit to Chat with the Chair. I'm sure you probably heard that we're the award-winning show now.
Yeah.
You'd heard that, I'm sure.
I have.
Well, it's all over town,
Yeah.
so it's without saying. So, Coach, we appreciate you joining us. I know you've just come off the practice field, look like a coach, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. So tell us and tell our viewers a little about your background.
Well, this is my 5th year as a head football coach. I'm from the state of Indiana, from Bloomington. My wife's from Decatur. I've coached for over 30 years now, mostly in the Big Ten Mid-American Conference area, so this is home for me. I've got 3 children. I've got one that's playing for me, so that's been really been exciting for my wife and I. And then we have 2 at Terre Haute South right now, so this is home. It's been a great move. We love Terre Haute, and it's great to be here.
Hard to believe you've been coaching that long, as young as you look, Coach, but I know that so many of our viewers know your family so well. Talk about your family, your father in particular.
Sure. Of course, grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. My father was a head football coach for over 27 years. Most recently, I guess his last head coaching job was at Indiana University. He was there for 13 years. He was the winningest head football coach at Indiana. I've got 2 brothers and myself. We all decided to get in this coaching profession. It was very easy to do because we saw the passion that my father had and the difference he made on young men's lives. And so it was easy for us to do that. And then I have a sister, and she's by far the toughest of all of us. She probably could be probably one of the better football players of all of us, but very proud of my brothers and my mom. She's the one that kept it all together, and of course she still lives in Bloomington, Indiana.
And your mother, she's been around with a number of the events that you've hosted and the various golf outings and such, and I know how important your family is to you, and it's tremendous, and I know that was important to your father as well.
Yep, absolutely. And my mom has been the backbone of everything. She does a lot of traveling. Both my brothers are in coaching right now, so she goes from place to place. I have a brother who coaches at the University of Michigan. I have another brother who's out of coaching, but he was just recently with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But he has a son who plays for the University of Miami, the Hurricanes. So
wow.
My mom stays busy, and it's a football family, and we enjoy that.
So, Coach, talk to the viewers about your path to Indiana State, and what was it about Indiana State and Terre Haute that attracted you to come here to take over the program, be its head football coach?
Well, Indiana's my home. When I was at the University of Wyoming, I got a call. It was from my father, and we were getting ready for the Poinsettia Bowl, playing BYU, and the job had opened up, and my father had called and asked me if I had heard that it had opened, and I said, yeah, I had, and asked me if I was going to go, if I was interested, and I said, absolutely, I'm interested. And but I wanted to finish up the season, and I asked him what he thought, and he says, you can win there, and I absolutely agreed. And when I came and interviewed at Indiana State, I really wanted the job. And when I got an opportunity to meet everybody involved, I wanted it that much more. And of course, knew a lot of people here in Terre Haute. Cam Cameron was very influential, and myself, he recruited me out of high school. Obviously, grew up here. Trent Miles was one of the first to contact me about my interest for this job. And so obviously I've leaned on them ever since.
That's great. And as far as the program itself and the things that you were determined to get accomplished here, what would you say would be the list of things that you were really determined to get done here?
Well, number one, it was going to be to surround myself with great people. And I've been fortunate to work with great people. Half my staff has been with me the whole time. And I hired the staff as people I knew as husbands, I knew them as fathers, and I knew them as teachers. And some of them I coached. And so I've got a few on my staff that I actually coached. And so when I first got hired here, I had 3 expectations, and Mike could recite them as fast as I could. And number one is that we're going to represent this program and our families in a first-class manner. And we've got young men in this program that certainly do that. And number two, we're going to earn a degree, but we're going to earn a degree with a 3-pointer higher, and our team GPA is at a 3.2. And then if we do those first 2 expectations, we will win the first ever Missouri Valley Championship. But those are the expectation. And the ultimate vision, Joe, is that every young man walks across the stage holding on to a diploma with a Missouri Valley Championship on their ring.
Of course, the big challenge, of course, in college is recruiting and searching out throughout the country to find those types of young men. And one of those young men happens to be with you today.
Yep.
So talk to us about that process of recruiting and the type of young man that you're looking for.
Well, it's kind of funny how it all kind of came around. When I first hired Adam Stenovich, who was our offensive line coach, who's now the offensive line coach for the Green Bay Packers, was at San Jose State. I was at Wyoming. We had looked at Mike, or recruited Mike, and Mike was on his way to San Jose State. Well, there was a coaching change, and Adam came here, and I knew about Mike, Adam knew about Mike, and we got Mike. And so it worked out that way. And when we recruited Mike, Mike came in and played as a wide receiver. And when Mike came in, he has a brother, Matei, and I was going to take as many of the Thomas as I could take. And so when we had Mike in our program for just under a year, Matei was a 185-pound wide receiver, and now he's a 250-pound tight end. And so Matei has done an excellent job. But our recruiting philosophy is always starts in the state of Indiana. We've got over 50 young men from the state of Indiana. We've got just under 25 from the state of Illinois. And then we're going to hit the surrounding states, and then we're going to go where we need to. And if we go to California to get a Mike Thomas or a Matei Thomas or a Travis Reiner, we'll do so. If we have to go to Texas and get an Isaiah Edwards, we will. But we're going to start in the footprint of the Midwest and then go where we need to from there.
So tell our viewers who you are.
Yeah, Michael Thomas, senior safety, like I said. I grew up in Southern California, Corona, California, no relation to the virus. Like Coach said, so I grew up, I went to Norco High School, and I was playing receiver, played a little corner, and was on my way to San Jose State, and there was a coaching change, and Coach Stenovich came over to Indiana State, and next thing I know, I was getting a call from Coach Mallory. I came on an official visit and ended up here.
So you don't exactly meet the footprint of Coach looking for players from Indiana, Illinois. So you've come from quite a distance. So talk to our viewers about what it was when you got that call from Coach Mallory and you came to Terre Haute and visited. What attracted you to come to be a Sycamore?
Yeah, Coach talks about it all the time. People make a place, and I think that was one thing that really stuck with me on my official visit, was really getting a sense of the coaching staff, and not only the coaching staff, but the guys around, my teammates that I was going to be around, that I was planning to be around, for the next 4 years, the coaching staff that I plan to be under for the next few years of my life. And so Coach Roundtree made a big impact on me. Coach Mallon made a big impact on me. Coach Heklinski, my offensive coordinator at the time, made a big impact on me. And so, and like Coach Mallon said, he made sure that he surrounded himself with a staff of good husbands and good fathers and things of that nature. And you can see that, when guys come in on official visits, I was able to see that, and guys are able to see that. I knew that the coaches that were going to be over me were going to be good men.
I always thought your job was tough, Coach. You get guys like this probably pretty easy.
It is. And Mike, I'm going to brag about Mike. Mike's will be an all-conference player, maybe an all-American player, but more importantly, he'll be an academic all-American, all-conference.
Awesome.
So he represents in the right way and lives it the right way.
So, Michael, tell me, you came in as a wide receiver. Now, you seem to be out there hitting guys pretty hard. So tell me when the transition was made from offense to defense.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember, hinting to Coach Mal and Coach Wilson, throughout my freshman and sophomore year, just joking around. But, I played my true freshman year wide receiver, came in and played the first 4 games of my true sophomore year before I got a surgery on my hip labrum. And after that sophomore year, we were low on safeties, and me and Coach Mal had a conversation, in which we decided that it was best for the team that I switched to safety. He knew that I had experience playing defensive back, and so we made that decision.
Now, you had played defensive back some in high school then?
Yeah, just corner. Yeah.
Right. So talk to us about the change then, and maybe physically and mentally that change from playing receiver to moving to safety.
Yeah, it was a big change. I know that Coach Hoke was my safety coach at the time, and Coach Wilson. They both did a big job of really helping me and teaching me. The biggest thing is transitioning your mind mentally. Not only when you're on the whiteboard, the entire board flips, going from offense and defense. And so, it was just a big mental adjustment, learning the defense, learning the scheme, and just getting a feel and getting your feet under you, learning how to backpedal, learning how to move, learning how to cover, learning how to tackle, and that stuff comes with time. But, I think that the biggest thing was Coach Hoke and Coach Wilson did a really good job of helping me understand the scheme and helping me pick up the defense.
So now, how many safeties are wearing number 1 to your knowledge in the country?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
So that number 1's a pretty special jersey they've got you running around on the field in.
Well, I'll tell you, he did. I got a call from Mike and asked if he could see me the next morning, and I said absolutely. And it was early in the morning, and Mike was our starting wide receiver. And he came into my office and said, "Coach, what do you think about?" And he knew that where we were in the secondary, and asked me. He goes, "Coach, I'd like to help the team. Whatever I can do to help the team, and about moving to safety." I said, "Mike, if I'm moving you to safety, I'm moving you to start, and I'm not moving you back. And that's what we're gonna do." And he did what was best for the team, and I almost gave him a big hug and a kiss, because at that point, we needed him to do that. But he came to me and knew that was the best, and I knew he loved to play defense, and but he hadn't looked back. And I remember him coming to me after the season and said, "Coach, you're not going to move me back." I said, "What did I tell you when I moved you?" I said, "I'm moving you," and he's got a great feel back there. He's got great ball skills. You can tell he's played both positions. And the thing that Mike does just a tremendous job of doing, and you have to do that when you're back there, is you got to be the quarterback back there. And you got to get everything right and make the calls and make the adjustments. And Mike's the leader back there. Mike was elected captain. Mike has another year of eligibility, and he was elected by his peers. As we all know, that's probably an award that you'll cherish for the rest of your life. But just does a great job of communication and leading by example.
So talk about opening game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be exciting to get back on the field and
Yep.
back in Memorial Stadium. I think you've probably been asked a lot about last year, so we probably don't need to revisit
Yeah.
that any more than you already had to. But talk about the excitement, enthusiasm, getting back on the game field, particularly in Memorial Stadium.
I mentioned, I've been doing this for 30 years, and that was probably the happiest I've ever been after a win. And I told the team that. I meant that with all sincerity, and it was because of what these guys have been through. And, going through what we went through wasn't necessarily any different than anyone else had been through. Everyone was going through a tough time and playing football and so forth. But what I was really most proud of these guys is that they all stuck together. They all stuck together. And when we had an opportunity to play in January, and it was my decision not to play because I felt it was the best thing for each young man in this program and the future of our program, they all wanted to play. And some of them took 5 minutes to get over it, some of them took 5 hours, some took 5 days, some of them it took a little longer. But in the end of the day, they all stuck together. And you saw it throughout the country, guys leaving programs, doing this, but this wasn't about this. This team had been old. Mike was his first year. We went 0-11, and the next year we had the biggest turnaround in college football. And we went 7-4, and Mike was a sophomore in that year. And a lot of these guys had been through that, and so when we went through this, they all stuck together. And when we played that first game against Eastern Illinois, I knew we were excited to play because we hadn't played in a while. And but to get out there and the biggest challenge we had was to try to get them to not play the game before the game, in the pregame. And they were hyped up, and but it was great to get that win, and I was just so proud to be part of it.
Well, it was a great crowd, a great environment out there at Memorial Stadium when Eastern Illinois was in the stadium. And, of course, you had the game well in hand, but this young guy over here had a huge play in that game.
He did, and I'll let him talk about it better because he made it. But, witnessing it, is two good interceptions as I've seen. He left his feet, and I'm on the headset, and I go, he caught that. He dove, laid out, caught that. And he, jumped right back up, and that was a big play. And then the other interception was probably just as impressive, as they threw a slip screen to the tailback, and quarterback Otto Coombs kind of threw it in there a little bit hard, and kind of couldn't get it, bounced off the running back's wrist or forearm, and right into. But Mike caught that thing full stride, and was shot out of a cannon down the sidelines, and that was a huge play in the game.
Sure was. Michael, talk about what you saw, particularly on that play, because that really did turn the game in many ways and put it out of reach and secured a victory for the Sycamores.
Yeah, so like Coach said, just a slip screen from the running back coming out the backfield, and that was the place that I was supposed to be, so I'm coming down on the running back to come make a tackle, expecting him to catch the ball and turn around and for me to make the tackle. Heath Stevens, our linebacker, is screaming down up to the quarterback and makes the quarterback throw the ball really quick, like Coach said. So it goes right past the running back because he had to throw it so fast, and it just pops right up, comes right in my right in my lap. I grab it, and I just try to hit the sideline and just think, don't get caught. I'm running.
Well, anybody's catching you.
Yeah, I'm running down the sideline, and I see the big screen, and I'm looking at the big screen. I see there's nobody behind me, so I knew that.
Yes, the person standing next to me was saying, we need a turnover right now. And next thing you know, here comes Michael Thomas and delivered. So that was huge. As you were running down the field, you had to be harkening back to your wide receiver days. What do you think?
I think I joke around with the wide receivers a lot because they like to joke that that I lost my hands and stuff like that. So more so the first pick, pick like Coach.
Well, that
said,
was a great catch too. Yeah. Well, I was thinking though maybe between us we could work on Coach Mallory to have you playing both ways. We could have you be a throwback player playing both ways. I mean, what do you think?
Well, we've had those discussions, because I've looked at a lot of different. It's just hard to move guys to the other side of the ball. In all seriousness, we do have a young man, Michael Hoppert, who is playing a lot of positions, but we I'm going to use Mike in a lot of different ways. We use Mike on the hands team. We're going to use him as a returner. We're going to use him as a lot of that stuff. But if we get into that situation, he'll be the first one I call.
Oh, that's good. So we know you've got a wealth of experience, Coach. So I want to pull out my old coaching days experience, but a young man like this, I'm sure you'd like to get him on the field as many plays as you can. So
that's right.
So of course the coaches talked about the team sticking together, and I got to believe that was a difficult time, Michael, for everybody, but I also got to believe it starts with the top, so everybody's kind of following the leader. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right, and that's exactly what the message is from Coach and from the leadership, from the entire coaching staff, and even from the leadership amongst the players. To stick together, and we understand that dividing is it's futile. So that is definitely the message we're trying to unite in, and we know that that's the most effective thing that we can do.
That's great. We got a big game coming up.
Yeah.
Of course, you take them one at a time, I know, Coach,
right.
So let's talk about that. And then we also do want to, talk about not looking too far ahead, but we want to maybe encourage our viewers to come out to the stadium, particularly with homecoming around the corner. So let's talk about that, if you would.
Yeah, sure. We've got Eastern Kentucky coming up. It's on the road. We're going down to Richmond. We'll leave on Friday. It's a night game. We'll play at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and it'll be a big road game. And obviously we're going down there to improve from week 2 to week 3. They're an awfully good opponent. Really have a lot of respect for Coach Wells and the job that he's done. We played him 2 years ago. This is a much improved team. They're really good on defense, but they're really, really explosive on offense. Probably our biggest challenge today, as of yet, on the offensive side. So we'll have our hands full, but it'll be a huge challenge, and the goal is to go 2-1. And when we come back to Terre Haute, because when we do come back to Terre Haute, we open up conference play. And I think I read 5, maybe 6 teams that are ranked in the top 25, from our conference. So, and we'll play every one of them but one. So, looking forward to that, but most importantly, looking forward to this Saturday night.
That'd be great. And Michael, what about you with regard to the season? Both your individual goals and team goals.
Yeah, I think that they coincide. I mean, I'm focused on doing my job. I'm recognizing my mistakes from the last 2 weeks, and especially last week. And I'm just trying to go out there and play the best football that I can possibly do. Go out there and do my job. Go out there and, like Coach said, communicate and help this defense to perform at the level that we know that we can perform at. And so, we're trying to win. That's the goal week in, week out, and I am just taking it 1 week at a time. I'm thinking about EKU. And so my goal is to go out there and individually play the best football that I can play versus EKU, and collectively to go win and have a dominant performance on defense.
So we've got some young viewers and, of course, parents and grandparents out there with young viewers who aspire to be in a position that you're in right now. What would you tell them, and talk about the difficulties in balancing the academics and the athletics as a scholarship athlete?
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that time management is essential, and I think that in managing academics, Coach says it all the time, that the guy that manages their academics well manages football well. There's a whole lot less stress when you've got your academics, in hand, and you're not focused. You've set apart time to study the playbook, and you're not worrying about catching up on homework, and you mismanage your time, and so now you don't get the opportunity to study your playbook as you ought. Now you're not performing on the field, or you don't get the opportunity to do the little things like go to the treatment room and take care of your body. And I think that's an important thing, managing your time and doing the right things. I think that everyone, even the kids back home, I think people understand what it takes. But it's whether or not you're going to do it. Are you going to stretch? Are you going to handle your academics? Are you going to do your homework? Are you going to work hard in the weight room? Are you going to listen to your coaches? Are you going to watch the film? Are you going to study the playbook? And it's whether or not you're going to do those things, because Coach Wilson says it all the time. Coach Mal says it. It takes what it takes. And so if you've got these goals, it takes what it takes in order to accomplish those goals.
And what is your major, Michael?
So I just graduated in the spring with a philosophy major, and so I just had the opportunity to start this fall in my linguistics master's.
It's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. Pretty impressive. Wouldn't seem like a guy that's out there just knocking people back and forth, but he's sure doing it. So
Yeah.
Quite the package here, Coach.
Yeah,
so you did it. You did all right with this recruit. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So as far as your goals for the rest of the season, what would you say about that, Coach?
Well, take it one game at a time. That's the main one right now. Obviously our ultimate goal is to win a championship and make the playoffs. But we know we got to take it one at a time. And everyone we play is going to be a huge challenge, and it really is. Eastern Kentucky is a really good opponent. They went down and played Louisville really tough. And so they're going to, that's a big game for them, obviously. So this will be their home opener, and it'll be exciting to be a part of it. And we're excited to go down there and play.
We sure want to encourage our viewers to come out to the Memorial Stadium for the games. We've got some great competition coming in there. Michael, talk about what it's like to have a nice crowd in there and people enthusiastic supporting the team. What's that like as a player?
It's fun. It's exciting. It gets the guys riled up. It's good to see on the sideline. It's encouraging. We want to perform in front of a crowd. We want to perform. In front of that kind of environment. And so, we definitely encourage everybody to come and just know that we appreciate it.
And also I noticed at that game, a lot of young people who are clamoring for your autograph. And what's it like to be a role model, and how do you perceive that role that you have in that capacity for the young people in the community?
Well, I think it's very humbling. I think it just comes with greater responsibility, and so I take it. Anything like that, whether it was like Coach, like he talked about, being named a captain or being a role model to younger kids. I take it very solemnly, and I think that it's just additional responsibility. That there's responsibility to to do the things that I ought to do to represent the program in a first class manner and take care of my academics and also to perform it on the field at a certain level. And so that's kind of the way I take it. I take it solemnly. I take it humbly. I'm happy about it. I'm glad to receive those things, but I do think it is additional responsibility.
Well, Coach, I know you've got a whole team similar to Michael, but I would recommend you might take him with you everywhere you go.
Well, you may be working for me someday. Maybe another guy that'll be one of my coaches, hopefully someday.
Absolutely. So we appreciate you coming in. Any final thoughts or words for our viewers?
No, I just really appreciate all your support. You've been a dear friend for me since day one, and I know if there's ever anything I ever need, you've always been there for me. So I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate that. We're really excited about your son, and I know that your wife is. You did a great job with him. He's sure been tremendous academically and athletically in the Terre Haute High School ranks for certain. And now it's great that you're going to have an opportunity to be coaching him and keeping him close so that we can keep an eye on him as well. So again, you've done a great job in what you've recruited here and the caliber of the young men. So awful proud of the coach and the program at Indiana State. Michael, how about you? Some last thoughts for our viewers?
Well, you said you got some younger people,
Yes, absolutely.
Viewing, come out and watch the game. Come out and if your goal is to play Division I football, come out and watch Division I football, and continue to work hard, continue to do the things that it takes in order to get to the places that you want to go.
Well, that's awesome. And Coach, one other thing, just as we're looking ahead, I know you've got the season, but of course a lot of the camps got disrupted over the past, but down the road next summer, we're really looking forward to getting really back into camp. So again, for our young people out there, keep on to your website. I take it for that.
Be on our sycamore.com and all our camp opportunities, and we had a team camp. Not as many camps. We had about 300 campers that came, high school campers. It's been up around 300 to 400. And we've had up to 12 teams, mostly locally in the Wabash Valley, that came over for our team camp. So we're continuing to grow that.
Yeah, so that's great. We know that was a great opportunity for the local high schools, so that's hopefully something we can build on. So again, we encourage everybody to go out to Memorial Stadium to watch the Sycamores. You can tune in and watch them, stream them, and catch them on the radio. And again, we welcome you here today, and we encourage you to get out and see the Sycamores. And Coach, we hope for bigger and better things as you move forward as a season. And Michael, we're excited to get out and watch you, and you're a tremendous young man, and we appreciate all you do to represent your family and the Sycamore program. So we thank you for joining us, and everybody, again, get out to Memorial Stadium, root on the Sycamores. And we ask that you also like us on Facebook and share us and get out there and support the Sycamores.
Thank you.
Go Blue!
DEMOCRATIC. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere.